Two former lawyers for Donald Trump in the spotlight tonight. One, the latest co-defendant to plead guilty in the election interference case against the Republican frontrunner. The other, a star prosecution witness at his fraud trial in New York.
Donald Trump is absolutely imploding right now as his own lawyers and closest advisors have been flipping on him. And this is not just talk. Trump's own people have been cutting deals with prosecutors. Trump's own insiders have been agreeing to testify truthfully about everything Trump did. And all of this was happening in secret. All of this was happening behind the scenes while Trump was claiming he had the best legal team and that he was winning in court. But the reality is Trump's legal team was falling apart. Trump's advisors were cutting deals. Trump's insiders were turning against him. And now all of this is coming out. And Trump is imploding because Trump is realizing he has no one left to defend him. Trump's own people are testifying against Trump. Trump's own lawyers are admitting crimes. Trump's own advisors are walking prosecutors through exactly how Trump committed the crimes. And that is absolutely devastating for Trump's legal position. This is the kind of witness testimony that destroys defendants at trial. This is the kind of insider knowledge that juries find completely credible. And Trump can't fight back because Trump's own people are the ones providing the testimony. But real quick, before we get into this, let's be honest. You can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built John Brown Show to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, please subscribe because you might think you are, but aren't. Your subscription actually matters here. All right, now let me bring the receipts on what actually happened. Sidney Powell, who was one of Trump's top election lawyers and one of Trump's fiercest defenders after the 2020 election, has pleaded guilty to conspiracy charges. Sidney Powell has admitted she helped tamper with voting equipment in Georgia. Sidney Powell has agreed to testify truthfully in future trials about everything that happened. And that's not just bad for Trump legally. That's catastrophic because Sidney Powell was in the room. Sidney Powell knows what Trump said. Sidney Powell knows what Trump did. Sidney Powell knows about the pressure campaigns and the fake elector scheme. And now Sidney Powell is going to testify truthfully about all of it. Share this video with everyone you know because Trump can't stop Sidney Powell. Trump can't control the narrative anymore because Trump's own lawyer is testifying against Trump. And it's not just Sidney Powell. Jenna Ellis, another Trump lawyer, has also pleaded guilty. Jenna Ellis has admitted she spread false claims about fraud. Jenna Ellis has agreed to testify against remaining defendants, which obviously includes Trump. And Kenneth Chesebro, who drafted the entire fake elector scheme, has also admitted his crimes and agreed to cooperate with prosecutors. So Trump's entire legal team has basically collapsed. The people who were supposed to be defending Trump are now testifying against Trump. The people Trump trusted to keep him out of prison are now helping prosecutors put Trump in prison. And that's the kind of betrayal that destroys a defendant's case. Think about what makes this moment so important. These flips are not happening quietly in some back room. These flips are exploding into public courtroom drama. Proffer videos are being leaked to news outlets. Testimony is being played in open court. And the American public is watching Trump's own people describe how Trump pressured them into committing crimes. The American public is watching Trump's own people describe how Trump refused to leave the White House. The American public is watching Trump's own lawyers admit they helped Trump overturn an election. And that's not something Trump can spin or minimize or dismiss as fake news, because the people testifying are Trump's own people. These are people who worked for Trump. These are people Trump trusted. These are people who are now telling the world exactly how bad Trump's conduct was. Make sure you're subscribed to John Brown Show because now let me walk you through what these flips actually reveal. Sidney Powell was one of Trump's top election lawyers after the 2020 election. Sidney Powell was out there claiming there were massive fraud schemes. Sidney Powell was claiming voting machines were rigged. Sidney Powell was making wild accusations on television and at Trump's legal team meetings. Sidney Powell was helping to develop these false narratives about election fraud. But then Sidney Powell got a target letter from prosecutors. Sidney Powell realized she could be facing serious criminal charges. Sidney Powell realized continuing to defend these fraud claims would be admitting to crimes. So Sidney Powell flipped. Sidney Powell pleaded guilty to 6 misdemeanor counts of conspiracy to interfere with election duties. And in that guilty plea, Sidney Powell admitted she had helped tamper with voting equipment in Georgia. Sidney Powell admitted she had participated in a conspiracy to interfere with Georgia's election. Sidney Powell agreed to hand over documents and to testify truthfully in future trials. Notice what Sidney Powell's plea agreement shows. Trump's legal team was built on lies from the beginning. These weren't just lawyers making good faith arguments about election fraud. These were lawyers who knew the fraud claims were false and who were helping Trump push those false claims anyway. Sidney Powell pleaded guilty to conspiracy charges, which means she admitted to being part of a criminal conspiracy. And who was the conspiracy against? Against the American people, against the Georgia election process, against democracy. And Sidney Powell is now going to testify about Trump's role in that conspiracy. Share this with everyone, because then there's Jenna Ellis. Jenna Ellis was another Trump lawyer who was out there making arguments about election fraud. Jenna Ellis was on television claiming there were fraud schemes. Jenna Ellis was working as part of Trump's legal team. But then Jenna Ellis also got a target letter from prosecutors. Jenna Ellis also realized she could face serious criminal charges. Jenna Ellis also flipped. Jenna Ellis pleaded guilty in the Georgia case. Jenna Ellis admitted she spread false claims about fraud. Think about what's particularly damaging about Jenna Ellis's cooperation. There are proffer videos where Jenna Ellis describes exactly what happened. In these videos, Jenna Ellis says that a senior Trump aide told her that Trump would not leave the White House under any circumstances, that Trump was going to stay in power no matter what, that Trump was willing to overturn the election no matter what it took. And now those videos are being aired on news outlets and shown in court. And the American public is hearing Trump's own lawyer describe how desperate and how willing Trump was to stay in power. And then there's Kenneth Chesebro, who actually designed the fake elector scheme. Kenneth Chesebro wrote the legal memos that outlined how the scheme would work. Kenneth Chesebro helped coordinate the filing of fake elector certificates in multiple states. Kenneth Chesebro was intimately involved in the plan to overturn the election. But Kenneth Chesebro also realized he could be facing serious criminal charges. Kenneth Chesebro also got a target letter from prosecutors. Kenneth Chesebro also flipped. Kenneth Chesebro pleaded guilty and agreed to cooperate with prosecutors. And now Kenneth Chesebro is walking prosecutors through exactly how the fake elector scheme was designed. Kenneth Chesebro is explaining to prosecutors how Trump was trying to use this scheme to overturn Biden's win. Kenneth Chesebro is providing detail after detail about how the conspiracy was executed. And Trump can't stop any of it. Trump can't prevent these people from testifying. Trump can't control what they say. Trump has to sit in the courtroom and watch as his own advisors describe how Trump committed crimes. Share this video because in New York, there's Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen was Trump's personal lawyer and fixer for years. Michael Cohen was the person who handled Trump's dirtiest business deals. Michael Cohen was the person who paid off Stormy Daniels to keep quiet before the 2016 election. Michael Cohen was the person who set up the reimbursement scheme to hide the payment from the public. But then Michael Cohen got arrested and convicted and spent time in prison, and Michael Cohen decided he wasn't going to go down for Trump. Michael Cohen decided he was going to cooperate with prosecutors and tell the truth. And so Michael Cohen testified in the New York hush money trial. Michael Cohen testified that Trump personally directed the hush money payment. Michael Cohen testified that Trump personally approved the reimbursement scheme. Michael Cohen testified about conversations with Trump where Trump was obsessed with keeping the Stormy Daniels story quiet before the election. And that testimony was absolutely devastating because it came from someone who was in the room, someone who was involved in the transaction, someone who knew Trump's state of mind. Notice what's important to understand. These are not hostile witnesses Trump is trying to discredit. These are Trump's own people who Trump worked with for years. These are people Trump trusted. These are people Trump relied on for legal advice and for executing Trump's plans. And now these people are testifying that Trump was committing crimes, that Trump was pressuring them into committing crimes, that Trump was directing illegal activity. And when jurors hear testimony from people like this, jurors understand this is not fake news. Jurors understand this is not a witch hunt. Jurors understand these are people who actually worked for Trump and who are now telling the truth about what Trump did. Make sure you're subscribed because there's also been chaos in the courtroom itself. In Trump's New York trial, there was a witness named Robert Costello who was supposedly a Trump witness. but Robert Costello ended up clashing with the judge repeatedly. Robert Costello was making side comments to the judge. Robert Costello was giving the judge side eye. Robert Costello was muttering at the judge's rulings. And eventually the judge got so frustrated with Robert Costello's behavior that the judge had to clear the courtroom. And that kind of courtroom chaos is incredibly damaging to a defendant because it makes the defendant and the defendant's team look bad. It makes the defendant's team look like they don't respect the legal process. It makes the defendant's legal strategy look desperate and disorganized. Now let's talk about what these witness flips actually mean for Trump's legal and political position. There are really four main things you need to understand about what's happening. First, these flips completely destroy Trump's defense strategy. Trump's entire defense strategy was built on the idea that Trump can blame his lawyers. Trump can say his lawyers misled him. Trump can say he was just listening to his lawyers' advice. But that defense completely falls apart when Trump's own lawyers flip and testify that Trump personally directed them to commit crimes. Share this with everyone because when Sidney Powell testifies that Trump pressured her into making false claims about fraud, when Jenna Ellis testifies that Trump refused to accept the election results, when Chesebro testifies about how Trump wanted to use the fake elector scheme to stay in power, Trump can't blame his lawyers anymore, because his lawyers are testifying that Trump directed them. Second, these flips create a cascading effect where more and more witnesses decide to flip. When one person flips, other people realize their former allies are now testifying against them. Other people realize staying loyal to Trump is not going to help them. Other people realize the only way to minimize their own criminal liability is to flip and cooperate with prosecutors. Think about what this means. You're going to see more and more of Trump's former advisors and lawyers cutting deals with prosecutors. You're going to see more and more witnesses deciding to testify truthfully about Trump's conduct. And each new flip weakens Trump's position further. And this cascading effect is particularly devastating in cases like the Georgia election case, where you have a large conspiracy with many participants. When Sidney Powell flips, she becomes a witness against everyone else in the conspiracy, including Trump. When Jenna Ellis flips, she provides corroborating testimony about what the other conspirators did. When Chesebro flips, he provides detailed information about how the fake elector scheme was structured and who was involved. Instead of Trump having a defense team that works together to present a united front, Trump now has multiple witnesses who are each providing testimony that corroborates and reinforces the others. And that is absolutely devastating from a legal standpoint, because it means Trump's defense has to try to attack all of these witnesses and claim they're all lying. But when you have multiple independent witnesses all providing consistent testimony, jurors are going to believe the witnesses and not the defendant. Third, these flips transform Trump's favorite courtroom defense, which is everyone is lying but me. Trump loves to claim everyone is lying about Trump. Trump loves to claim all the witnesses are biased against Trump. Trump loves to claim the whole legal process is rigged against Trump. But that argument is much harder to make when the witnesses are Trump's own people, when the witnesses are Trump's own lawyers, when the witnesses are Trump's own advisors. Jurors understand Trump can't dismiss these people as biased or as having an agenda against Trump. These are people who worked for Trump. These are people Trump chose to work with. These are people who are now testifying about what they personally witnessed. Share this video because fourth, these flips are going to destroy Trump's political narrative. Trump has been claiming he's a political prisoner being persecuted by the deep state. Trump has been claiming he's a victim of a witch hunt. Trump has been claiming all the charges against Trump are politically motivated. But it's much harder to make that claim when Trump's own people are admitting they committed crimes at Trump's direction. When Trump's own lawyers are pleading guilty to conspiracy charges related to Trump's schemes. When Trump's own advisors are cooperating with prosecutors against Trump. Notice what the public is going to understand. Trump actually committed crimes. Trump actually broke the law. Trump actually tried to overturn an election. Trump actually pressured his legal team into making false claims. And that understanding is going to undermine Trump's political position. Here's what's particularly damaging about the timing of these flips. They're happening while Trump is still in office and while Trump still has power. So Trump can't just wait out his opponents. Trump can't just claim he'll be vindicated later. Trump can't just dismiss the trials as political persecution, because Trump's own people are testifying against Trump in real time, and the American public is watching it happen. The American public is hearing Trump's own lawyers describe how Trump committed crimes. The American public is watching Trump sit in the courtroom getting more and more angry as his own people testify against him. There's also the question of what happens when Trump loses more trials. Right now, Trump has already been convicted in the New York hush money case, but there are more trials coming, more opportunities for more witnesses to flip and testify, more opportunities for more of Trump's crimes to be exposed. And each trial is going to feature more testimony from Trump's former insiders. Each trial is going to feature more details about Trump's criminal conduct, and Trump's political position is going to continue to deteriorate as more trials happen. Think about what's important to understand. Michael Cohen's testimony was not some abstract legal argument. Michael Cohen was describing specific conversations with Trump. Michael Cohen was describing specific times when Trump directed illegal activity. Michael Cohen was describing the emotional state of Trump when Trump was obsessed with keeping the Stormy Daniels story quiet. That kind of intimate testimony from someone who was in the room is incredibly powerful. Jurors believe that kind of testimony because it comes from someone who has direct knowledge. Share this with everyone, because the Georgia case is going to be even worse for Trump. You have multiple witnesses who are all cooperating. Sidney Powell is cooperating. Jenna Ellis is cooperating. Kenneth Chesebro is cooperating. Rudy Giuliani is potentially cooperating. So you're going to have testimony from multiple people who all participated in the fake elector scheme. Multiple people who all heard Trump direct illegal activity. Multiple people who are all going to corroborate each other's testimony about what Trump did. And that kind of evidence is incredibly difficult for a defendant to overcome in court. Notice what's important about the proffer videos that have been leaked. These videos show Trump's own lawyers in their own words describing what happened. These videos are not edited by prosecutors. These videos are not spun by the media. These are Trump's own lawyers describing how Trump refused to leave the White House, how Trump was willing to overturn an election, how Trump pressured his legal team into committing crimes. And those videos are incredibly damaging because they come from Trump's own people describing Trump's conduct in their own words. The bottom line is this: Trump is imploding as his secret witnesses flip in courtroom chaos. His own lawyers and closest advisors have been flipping on him. His own people cutting deals with prosecutors. His own insiders agreeing to testify truthfully about everything Trump did. All happening in secret behind the scenes while Trump claimed he had the best legal team and was winning in court. But the reality is, his legal team was falling apart. His advisors were cutting deals. His insiders were turning against him. Now all of this is coming out. Trump is imploding, realizing he has no one left to defend him. His own people are testifying against him. His own lawyers are admitting crimes. His own advisors are walking prosecutors through exactly how Trump committed the crimes. This is absolutely devastating for his legal position. This is the kind of witness testimony that destroys defendants at trial. This is the kind of insider knowledge that juries find completely credible. Trump can't fight back because his own people are providing the testimony. Sidney Powell, one of Trump's top election lawyers, pleaded guilty to conspiracy charges, admitted she helped tamper with voting equipment in Georgia, agreed to testify truthfully in future trials. Not just bad legally, but catastrophic because Sidney Powell was in the room, knows what Trump said and did, knows about the pressure campaigns and fake elector scheme, now going to testify truthfully about all of it. Trump can't stop her, can't control the narrative. His own lawyer is testifying against him. This story continues. Stay tuned.